Welcome to the 2023 Cavallino Classic, a classic and modern Ferrari show that occurs in January of every year in sunny Palm Beach, Florida. Now, this being such a posh environment, you must be wondering who let me in. But let me ask you something. Does a suppository ask the asshole for permission? Considering that there's over 400 cars in this show, I can't quite show you everything. And frankly, I'm not trying to put you to sleep here. So instead, I'm just going to walk the field and talk about some of the cars that catch my eye, hopefully make it interesting for you. After you're done watching this video, I'm going to recommend that you go into my YouTube channel and look up the videos I made for the 2020 show and the 2022 show, where I talk about different cars that I'm not going to talk about today. And finally, I want to ask you to please subscribe to the channel, hit that like button. Both things are really helpful. All right, let's do it. Right off the bat, let's start with a car I didn't even know existed, like a rapist with a safe word. It's a car that they made one of one. Pininfarina designed it for Ferrari. It's a Ferrari 410 Pininfarina Super Fast. Again, they made this for the Paris Auto Show. It is incredible design. It's got that retro futurism like American cars of the late 50s with the tail fins, but this is a two-seater. It is so sporty. There's crazy detailing. Look at the A-pillar. There is no A-pillar. It's glass on glass. So the roof cantilevers off of the B-pillar behind it. That's just something I've never seen. The headlights are concealed. I love the chrome line running down the length of the car. I love the luxury touches like the two-tone color, the rear bumper, just beautiful with the exhaust, and the lights are so detailed. And then look at the rear windshield. It's got a windshield wiper. That's a first for a Ferrari. Never seen that. Now these cars have a 5-liter Lampedri V12. Fastest car of the day for sure. This is a car that could have gone well past 160 miles per hour with that kind of power. But it's also a very heavy car with very luxurious interior, and just a sensational car. Incredible. I can't believe I get to see this car. Ferrari 288 GTO. They only made about 270 of these. For comparison, the F40 next to it, that whole lineup of F40s, they made 1,311 of those. So this is super rare car. However, it's a more understated car. It's clearly based on the 308, except that it just looks like a 308, but in reality underneath it's a completely different car. It's got a 2.8-liter twin-turbo V8 that was later used in the F40, but that V8 is longitudinally mounted instead of transversely mounted in the 308s. So the weight distribution is very different. This is a car that was made to compete against a Porsche 959 in Group B racing, but it never really went racing because that category was canceled. The fact that it's just an understated car, I think that the values, it never really popped like the F40 because it just doesn't have quite the following of the F40, but it's a gorgeous car. Now this is another variant of the 308 line. This is a 208 GTB. The main difference between this and the 308s of the time is that these cars were sold in markets where there were substantial tax savings in selling cars that were under 2 liters. So essentially Ferrari made the smaller V8 turbo in order to sell it so that the performance was comparable to the 308 that was sold in the States and elsewhere. Really cool car, very rare. I don't think I've ever seen one. 355 GTB, really cool car, not traditionally beautiful, but they just age so well. It's got a 5-valve per cylinder V8. Awesome cars. I overheard this creep telling this girl how much he spent on that Ferrari. You're on, buddy. You're gonna see him. Believe it or not, this 166 is the very first car to win Le Mans for Ferrari and also won the Milan event. This is the most important Ferrari race car ever. Just the styling set the stage for Ferraris to come in the future, and it cemented Ferrari as a formidable brand. Awesome car, and the owner is the same owner as the Superfast that I showed you earlier. This 340 America that came after the 166, this very car was driven by Louis Chiron, the same guy for which that modern Bugatti was named after. And we only made 6 of these cars, and there's 2 of the 6 right here. And here we have another 166 Touring Barchetta. Look at the car. It's just so beautiful. Car weighs less than a Miata, and it's got a 2-liter V12 Formula 1 engine. It's a screamer. the car is just so gorgeous. They only made 25 of this, so finding two of them, one next to each other, is pretty damn special. I love these cars. And back to the 340 America Touring Barqueta. You know, this car had the 4-liter Lampedri V12 that replaced the Colombo engine. So, you know, a lot faster than 166. And this car is so gorgeous. I love the blue interior, perfectly matches the exterior blue. Oh, so beautiful. I love this car. Now this is a 63 330 LM. This car superseded the 330 GTO, which superseded the 250 GTO. You can see the similarities to the 250 GTO next to it. The front fenders, the rear, also the side strakes. The greenhouse looks more like a Lusso that was being sold at the time. So it's an amalgamation of different designs, but it looks awesome. This is a pure race car. Only 4 of them were built, this being the last one. Look at that, you fill the car up, you're going to be smelling gasoline. Awesome car. Now here we go, the car everybody wants to see, the 250 GTO. This is one of 33 Series 1 cars. I've seen this car before in previous Cavallino Classics, but it's always a treat to see it. The car is impeccably restored. This is a Le Mans race car. Interior is full race car in reality. This car superseded the 250 short wheelbase in competition, and after they were done with this chassis, they developed the 250 GT Lusso, which spawned a couple of race cars as well. And another 250 GTO. This one has extensive racing history. John Surtees raced it and crashed it. So this car's been actually rebuilt a couple times. It's sort of a mongrel. I love how they kept it original. With the paint isn't even matching correctly. Wherever they remove decals, you still see the different paint colors. Super original car, even though it's been crashed a couple times. But they kept it period, which is really nice to see. And the crowd favorite, the F40, 1992. They made 1,311 of them, plus 19 competition versions. I'll show you one that I saw elsewhere in the show. This is an evolution of the 288 GTOs. Seeing 5 of them in a row here is really unprecedented. 1974 308 GT4. This car was designed at the same time as a 308 GTS. The GTS, far more beautiful car because those were designed by Pininfarina, whereas this was designed by Bertone, which like typical Bertone, such as a Countach and the Stratos, it's more of a wedge shape. But this car has a back seat and is mid-engine, so the styling really is impressive. Now, nobody would go so far as to call this a beautiful car, but considering that it has a rear seat and mid-engine, I think it's so cool. And compared to the 308 GTB, which by Pininfarina, which is a out-and-out exotic car, this was actually supposed to be more of a practical car. And guess what? This is the first Ferrari mid-engine road car ever made. And that guy right there with a mustard shirt and the flies hanging around him is an Instagram influencer with a great car collection. And that blue car right there is a 1977 Vettel Resina 308 GTB. Out of the 308s, that's the rarest one of all. That's the only reason why I included it. Whenever you see a grouping of white middle-aged men like this, you know the one in the middle is the one with the money on the right. The other ones are like flies around caca. Regardless of that, let's keep going. This is a 290 mm. I believe this car won the Targa Florio of that year. Just a cool looking car. Look at the finish. Look at the quality of the restoration. It's just gorgeous. Now this 166 shares the chassis and engine with the 166 Barqueta next to it, but it's a first Ferrari road car, and it was intended to establish Ferrari as a true manufacturer. Now this deep red color really is reminiscent of the Alfa Romeos of the period, and let's not forget that Ferrari started working for Alfa Romeo, original 250 Mille Miglia, one of the early 250, might have been the earliest one of all. This car was designed by Pininfarina, and this version, this particular car was actually built by Pininfarina. There were only 18 designed by Pininfarina. The rest of the, I think 33, were all by Vignale, which is more common for the race cars. It's a long-distance race car. Phil Hill famously won the Mille Miglia in one of these examples. And right next to it, a 2003 Enzo Ferrari. Super cool car. I'm not going to get into much detail about it. And here we have a 206P. I've never seen one of these, and in this show we actually have 2 of them. Beautiful sports prototypes. They're made for short distances, for hill climbs. Just gorgeous. One of the most beautiful race cars ever. 250 GT, Tour de France. 77 of these cars were built. That, in my opinion, are one of the best looking Ferraris out there. Still, this one in particular, beautiful. I love the blue that matches the blue stripe outside. Now this one is out in the parking lot, not even warrants being accepted into the show. 599 GTO of the modern front engine V12 Ferraris. This one is probably my favorite. And speaking of front engine V12 Ferrari coupes, here's the 365 GTBs, a row of them. This is a car that famously was in the Miami Vice TV show. They sold as many as they could build. I always love this little detail here in the door handle. But I continue. The older ones have the exposed headlights with acrylic covers, and then the later ones come with pop-up headlights. Either version, super cool. 250 GT Lusso. Once a 250 GTO that preceded it was no longer competitive, Ferrari used most of the components from that car to create this one, which is a road-going luxurious car. You could get these with fitted luggage. Beautiful cars. And moving on from the Lusso, here we got something that's not quite that good looking. It's a 250 GT Europa. Behind this cute little Hello Kitty looking car, there's a V12 race engine in it, so don't get it twisted. I would kill to have this car. And from the effeminate Europa, let's go to the 512M, which is all testosterone. Now this car was made by Ferrari to compete against the mighty Porsche 917s, and it wasn't really a very successful car in that sense. And furthermore, Ferrari had to sell half of the company to Fiat in order to fund the production of these racing cars. So, you know, star-crossed, I would say, but cool looking and incredible sounding.
Oh, you did? Oh.
Here's two 575 Superamericas. Very innovative car, not a beautiful car, but those roofs, they actually flip back and then they can get secured to the rear decklet, which is something I've never seen before or after. Not only that, but that roof is electrochromic glass, which to this day is very rare. Another awesome car, an A12 Competizione, a 9,000 RPM V12. Are you kidding me? Amazing. And this has left me speechless. One of the most beautiful cars ever, California Spider. And that roof, that top looks like a toupee. And here's the other 206P in the show. Just awesome. Wait, look at the leather inside. It looks like a Chuck E. Cheese booth. And it's got a V6, and all kidding aside, beautiful car. Look at the lines of this thing. 375mm Spider. Is it me, or does this car actually look a lot like a Shelby Cobra? That rear fender line, bulbous rear fenders, gorgeous, but kind of derivative. And a yellow end. So I saw this car last year in the show. I gotta tell you, it's got some fitment issues when you look at it up close, and if you got the money to have this car, surely you should be paying better attention to what you're presenting. Look at the fitment lines, it's just weird. And I mean, look at the front, look at the bodywork, it's just bad. Hey, it's that a-hole from TV, the chef. And with that, let's finish here on a very high note. I'd like to thank you once again for joining me, and stay tuned for more awesome content coming for this channel. Thank you.